Okay, good afternoon and welcome to Seattle Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host along with my co-host Tucker Maxwell with Guild Mortgage. I, of course, am with Keller Williams Realty in Bothell and the Seattle Real Estate team. Happy New Year, Tucker.
Happy New Year, Dan. How are you?
Good. I had to do the same thing. My volume was coming through with my recording. So cool beans. I'm doing great. Hey, welcome back from I guess you took a few weeks off, yeah?
I did. I explored Europe for the first time.
Excellent. So that was your first trip. And where'd you go?
I went to England, Manchester, London, and we went to the Netherlands and checked out Amsterdam and all the artwork in Amsterdam.
Right. So you're museumed out, basically.
Yeah, no more museums, at least for the month of January.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, and I'm actually using a new feature to broadcast live on Instagram, and so I have to position my face because I'm looking at what it looks like, and if I go over here, I go off the screen.
Right.
But it's kind of cool because we can actually go live, and both of our faces are there. Well, this is we would love for you to like and subscribe. And Tucker, what is your Instagram handle so people can see that?
It's Tucker Maxwell.
It's Tucker Maxwell. And then Realtor Dan 62 is my handle on Instagram. Of course, you can also find me on YouTube and subscribe to our podcast, the Seattle Real Estate Podcast. We got a lot to catch up on, a lot to talk about. We're going to jump right into housing predictions for the 2026 market. So Tucker, let's start with you. Let's start with the question everybody wants to know. When are 3% interest rates coming back? Is it going to be this year?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh, geez. Look at your mortgage applications go through the roof.
Yeah, exactly. My phone's ringing right now.
What is going to happen?
Three.
Yeah, three.
But there's very optimistic views on where interest rates are going, and we're already seeing that there's some dominoes in place that are pushing rates down. So right now, whether you ask the Mortgage Bankers Association, Fannie Mae, Redfin, Zillow, MBS Highway, everyone is predicting around six.
Around six. So basically where we're at right now, is that right?
Yeah, we're probably in the mid to high sixes for most people, unless they're going to, pay significant points to buy down. So I always talk in terms of a par rate, meaning like you're not paying additionally for this rate, and it's just like an average interest rate based on credit profiles. And so that's what we're trying to get down, is the average rate down to around 6%.
Okay. So what are the factors that you would say people should be watching for in the coming months that will affect this, maybe in a positive way or in a negative way?
Yeah. First is inflation. I think that's the easiest way for consumers to track the direction of interest rates, that if inflation stays as close to 2% as possible or gets to 2%, and right now we're at like 2.7%, which is really good news. That is a major indicator that they can bring rates down further. The second would be jobs. We need to have a healthy job market. We need unemployment to be low. We need to be seeing that jobs are being created. So those are the two main economic components that should lead to the Fed bringing rates down.
When it comes to jobs, a lot of people are concerned in this area that because of the AI revolution, that jobs are getting eliminated. What are you seeing or hearing from your sphere of influence and maybe some colleagues with regards to jobs here in the Northwest?
Yeah, I haven't seen too much. We did see some tech layoffs in Q4. And so that's probably part of that, especially in the coding world. So I think we're going to see that. But the real question is going to be, how quickly can these folks get into a different job? Like, they're going to have to pivot, but how quickly can they get back into the job market?
Well, and it could be too. I want to add the additional layer of HB1 visas. There's been some conversations about renewals of these visas, additional costs for corporations for these things. Does that actually hinder the job market too? Because perhaps there are some people that in the past would be employed but now aren't.
Could be, yeah.
Okay. So that and then what you might see is maybe more favorable trade winds for buyers than just sellers, because at that point you may have more people needing to sell. And here's the thing is, I don't think from a standpoint of the market as a whole, like it can change that much. I think we conflate the impact that some of these small things have. And then we also do that to our advantage, like thinking, oh, I can sell my home for any price because we have unlimited buyers. So I think it's a careful thing to watch the unemployment rate. and watch the different changes and how they will affect things, because that does influence the market here.
Exactly. A good example of that is the talk about there's going to be this big crash because people can't short term rent their properties, right? This big Airbnb crash, when in reality they just flipped to long term rentals. They didn't sell it. They didn't foreclose. They just said, okay, if I can't Airbnb anymore, people went back to work. I'm just going to get a 12-month lease in there, and now we're business as usual.
All right. So let's talk from a standpoint. Next point. So in the market, what we can say for a level of certainty is that we're going to see rates stay steady.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's not going to be a spike, and it's not going to be a drop. So that psychologically, for most folks, is not going to play in the emotional decision to buy, because it's already baked in. We all know we're going to be around 6%. It's not like wait till September when the rates drop down. It's not like hurry now because rates are low. We're pretty much going to be staying. Now, what could happen if the Feds did something unpredictable? And if so, what would that be? And what would that be? What kind of effect would that have on mortgage rates?
Yeah, so a big thing is we don't know who's going to be the chairman of the Fed yet. Jerome Powell, his term is up in February. So right now, there's really no clue as to what the new chairperson is going to do. And in reality, the chairperson doesn't necessarily hold all the cards. They have to vote. There has to be a majority rule. So that's the one thing that people are like, oh, if we get somebody that's super bullish in there as chairperson, will that, cause rates to tank to 3%? Well, and there's still 15 other people on the committee that are going to vote. So one person can't really drive it. But that's one thing that we are watching. The other thing is, can the government buy mortgage-backed securities, right? Can they come in and guarantee a price on mortgage-backed security, which then eliminates the need for the Fed to reduce rates, because we just have a guaranteed buyer, which is what they did during COVID. Was they couldn't bring them down fast enough through the Fed, so they just started guaranteeing buying. And just today, they announced that they're going to start buying, or quantitative easing, buying mortgage-backed securities to help bring down rates.
Okay, but it's not an aggressive approach. It's just kind of, that's the standard that's going to help slowly bring those rates down. Okay, cool. So I want to get to some more localized topics, because that obviously has everything to do with the nationwide picture. But let's get to a localized topic where we're talking about buyers markets. And specifically, I want to, the question that I keep getting asked is it a buyer's market in Bellevue? Now, I'm going to bring on a little chart here so we can kind of actually geek out a little bit about this chart and take a look here. If you take a look at this chart here, and I'm going to switch here, I'm doing this on the fly. We're looking at right now the median days on market for houses in Bellevue and Seattle. So this is an overlay, Bellevue and Seattle. So I want to talk just specifically, I'm going to go over here to just the Bellevue, and we'll take off Seattle for a second. So we look at this, we can see that there are a couple of things that jump out to me. I don't know if you see this, but right here around January, you see this spike in 2024, spike in 2025, and it even goes back to 2023, is that our days on market grows as we hit the holiday, right? So that kind of makes sense. Yep. A lot of people, go to Amsterdam, I guess, or the UK for 3 weeks, right? I actually just had some clients go to Brazil for the holiday. It's kind of nice. Go down, get some summertime down there, rather than cold, wet, rainy Northwest. So what we're seeing right now is about 30 days on market rate, but that doesn't really tell us if it's a buyer's market or not. What really tells us a buyer's market is what we call absorption ratio. So absorption ratio is based on the month's supply. So month supply means that if nothing new comes on the market in X amount of days, you're going to be out of inventory, or months, excuse me, not. So these months of inventory is what plays into the absorption rate. So as you look back over, 2022, back when it was a red hot seller's market, we started gradually throughout the year climbing to 2 months of inventory. 2 months of inventory is still a favorable seller's market. And then as you can see through 2024 and 2025, finally, as we go into May, which is May and June, July, those are the heights of the market in the Pacific Northwest, the most amount of activity. And during those months, we reached 4 months of inventory. Now, by definition, I want to say 5 to 6 months is what's considered a buyer's market. And so we're skirting in Bellevue with a buyer's market. Now, as inventory, like we watch days on market go up, that's the seasonality, but months supply go down. That means some people decided that they just weren't going to go on the market. So we're now at 2 months of inventory. But if you look at last January, we started at 1.4. And so we're up to 2 months. So we're already starting at a higher point. Now, does that point to a buyer's market? And here's what I want you to hear from me on this is maybe. Maybe. It would be really unwise to, use all of Bellevue as a predictor of what the market is. So to kind of find out what the market is like for any individual in any location, you'd want to say, well, what is your specific purchase? If your specific purchase is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 4,200 square foot home, then what in Bellevue, you may also be looking for something like that also in Kirkland or also in Redmond or also in Issaquah or also in Seattle or also in North Seattle. So you actually have to kind of break down that. And then each one of those are going to have its own unique days on market. So I would say if you're in a price band of $1 million to $1.5 million, you might still be in a seller's market. And we have the metrics where, again, I can bring our chart up here again. Oops. Where we can actually drill into the property type, bedrooms, and size, new construction, and look, how many in Bellevue is 2.7, but also what's the median sales price, right? So you're looking at the median sales price. So it's all relative. So the long story short is I would say in general that the conditions right now favor buyers more than they ever have, not in the last 5 years, since I would say 2018, 2019, which was when we were kind of turning into what we thought was going to be a more balanced market. So I would say it's probably more balanced than it is one way. Some homes are going to move fast. And based on that, here's the key. And this leads me to my next question. This next question, the answer to this question is the key to what we're seeing. Tucker, how are applications right now for borrowers?
We see the same seasonality, so definitely there's a dip in December, but we see an uptick in January for sure. It hasn't really kicked off quite yet. I think
just a week,
a little bit of a holiday hangover, if you will. But as the weeks progress, leads have picked up and applications are starting to trickle in. So I do anticipate that we'll see greater applications January 2026 than we saw in January of 2025.
Yeah. So the thing here is last week, Saturday was the first weekend of the year. And so this week would be the first week where some of those applications are coming in.
Yep.
I know you've probably gotten a handful of new applications just this last week, so time will tell. And when we are podcasting, whether it's a week from now or a month from now, we'll probably do a little review. And what I'd like to know is how did the applications in the month of January look versus the month of applications last January? Because that's going to kind of tell us. I think that we're headed, my prediction is last year was a stagnant year. The year before was a stagnant year. This year is going to be a growth year. So I don't know if it will exceed the 2 years ago or the year before that, but it will be more than last year and more than the year before in volume. That's my prediction. So
I would agree. I think we're going to see 5 to 7% increase year over year.
Yeah, in sales volume.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, write that down for our prediction show. So when we come back next year, we should go back and look at our predictions from last year. That'd be kind of cool, huh?
Yeah.
I like that. All right. So Tucker, conclusion. Is there anything else you want to add? Any other questions or thoughts that you want to address for next year?
No, I just think it's a great time for buyers. As you mentioned, we're seeing credits, we're seeing prices softening. I wouldn't say we're seeing prices deteriorate, but we're seeing slower appreciation. There's homes on the market. You have time to really get your ducks in a row, do inspections, evaluate homes. If you've been on the fence for a while, the time is now.
Awesome. Okay, so how can people get a hold of you, Mr. Tucker?
Yeah, I'm on all major platforms. Phone number 425-757-9202. Or you can find me on Instagram at It's Tucker Maxwell, or on Facebook, Tucker Maxwell, or LinkedIn, Tucker Maxwell. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, Tucker Maxwell, Guild Mortgage, Google him. Or ChatGPT. I want to know what happens if I do that. I bet you can find all the dirty stuff about you.
There you go. And I'm not the up and coming professional baseball player named Tucker Maxwell as well that I often get confused with. I'm the mortgage lender.
Mortgage lender, ex-soccer player. Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Or
so
in the UK.
Come on now. I had a friend. Okay, this is a true story, but I had a friend who has playoff tickets, right? So he bought playoff tickets, season ticket holder, and he's selling his tickets rather than offering them to his friends at regular prices because he's going to make money. And he said he's doing it so that he can afford the USA World Cup soccer match.
Yeah, which looks ridiculous in terms of pricing. We're not real thrilled about it. You're looking at probably $2,500 minimum to enter the stadium
for football
for a 90-minute match. Yes.
That's crazy. That's insane. But you know what's actually, I honestly believe this is that where soccer has come in the U.S. versus 20 years ago is impressive.
Absolutely.
And it's not as fun as watch as rugby. I'm just saying.
No. Well, and what I would tell people as a soccer player that, we'll try to go to those games. The watch parties are going to be really fun. And if you've ever watched the World Cup on TV and they show the watch parties, the fun is had at the watch parties. And those are going to be all over Seattle. I know Renton is going to be a host of one. So if you can't get into the stadium, go to a watch party. The games are going to be midday, mid-work week as well. So keep that in mind.
Gotcha. So, all right. So your first jersey you're wearing is US. What's the second jersey you're wearing?
I'm wearing England.
UK.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, England, because you have England and Ireland in the World Cup.
Oh, got it. Okay. So England
and Wales made it.
Okay. Go Wales. All right. So maybe I'll put Wales on.
I think that's a good choice. They have a great player in Gareth Bale. Not a bad prediction.
When does this all start?
It's the month of June.
Starts in June. Okay, perfect. Right when baseball gets boring, right? Everybody gets excited. June, baseball, perfect.
World Cup. Right before the All-Star break.
All right, very good. What are you up to this weekend?
I am going to hopefully get up into the snow because we're expecting a couple of feet of snow. So hopefully you'll find me at Alpental this weekend.
Yeah, 2 to 4 feet of snow, right?
That's right.
I should break those snowshoes out and go hit a trail.
There you go.
All right. Tucker, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and we hope you all have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Dan.
I got to set my outro video. Hold on. Wait for it. Here we go.
Suspense is building.
Yeah, here it goes.